Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Naomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to this season of Self-Love Podcast. I am your host, Naomi Banks, and this is Wisdom Wednesday. Well, this will be our final episode here for our July series of Preparing for Transformation. And today I am deeply honored to welcome another extraordinary woman whose story will move and inspire you. That's Sonya Dudley. She is a BII survivor who has transformed her journey from surviving to thriving and showing us what it means to rise into complete wholeness after choosing ourselves in our healing. You know, with Sonya's story, it's a radiant example of how our darkest chapters can become the foundation for our most luminous chapters. Her journey demonstrates that healing isn't just about removing what's harming us. It's about discovering who we were meant to be when we no longer are just surviving, but fully thriving. Her path reminds us that true transformation is not just possible, but it's our birthright when we choose to honor our bodies, trust our journey, and embrace the fullness of who we are. But before we bring Sonya to the stage, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the Goddess, Naomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the Goddess, Naomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Naomi teacher. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back. Well, hello, Miss Sonya Dudley. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
I am so good. I am so happy that you are here. You are the last of our extraordinary women for this month's series. Yes.
Hey, okay. Hey, I'm okay to be last. Maybe the best story for last. I don't know. Everyone's story is important. So
Yes, it is.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you. All right. So, Sonya, as I was telling you before, that we do a nice grounded meditation before we get into the topic. All right. All right, my listeners. So you know exactly how we do it. If you all could just get into a nice, comfortable position and to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Take a nice, deep, life-giving breath in and pause with gratitude. Now exhale slowly, releasing anything that doesn't belong in this sacred moment. I want you to feel your body fully supported, completely held, radiant and alive in this present moment. Now place both of your hands over your heart, and I want you to feel the steady and the faithful rhythm of life flowing through you. I want you to imagine a brilliant, healing light beginning to glow in your heart center, warm and golden, and infinitely loving. This is the light of your wholeness, your completeness, your infinite capacity to heal and transform. Now Now, with each breath, I want you to feel this life expanding throughout your entire being, illuminating every cell, every breath, every heartbeat. This light represents your innate wholeness, not something you need to achieve, but something that you already are and are remembering. Breathe in your inherited wholeness and breathe out any belief in your brokenness. You are complete. You are whole. You are rising into the fullness of who you've always been. And when you are ready, gently return to the awareness to our conversation and carry this radiant sense of wholeness with you. All right, my beautiful people. Well, again, thank you for sharing that space with me. And if you are new here to this season of Self-Love Podcast, you know there's something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help ground us. You know, as I sit here in my final weeks of preparing for my Explant journey, I'm continue to inspired by these women who have walked the path and emerged not just healed, but they have transformed in ways that I could never imagine that could be possible. You know, each story this month has truly moved me and it inspired me in so many ways. Each story I hear, it expands my vision of what's possible on the other side of this choice. And Sonya's story is particularly powerful because it shows us the beautiful difference between surviving and thriving. You know, so many of us become experts at surviving and pushing through and managing symptoms, making do. But Sonya's journey illustrates what becomes possible when we move beyond the survival. But today, we'll explore Sonya's beginning to her awakenings that shifted everything, the courage it took to choose thriving over surviving, and the radiant life that she's created on the other side of her healing journey. So Sonya, thank you for being here with me again today. I know just sharing your story and just being so vulnerable on another platform like this, it takes a lot of courage, and I truly do thank you, and I truly do appreciate you.
Well, that's mutual. It's not easy to be authentic and vulnerable and open up about things, but I remember when I made the decision to move forward with explanting, I didn't even have 1 ounce of questioning of, am I going to share this? It was just like, God said, you're sharing your story.
Mm-hmm.
You're sharing. You're going to help a lot of people. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And I'm very, very, very glad that I'm open about it and will continue to be and be very loud about it.
Beautiful. Thank you. See, I like that loud and bold. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So let's start this. Let's start, first of all, by just celebrating where you are right now. Tell us about yourself. What brings you the deepest joy and fulfillment in your life today?
What a great question. You know what? The older you get, it may have been something different 20 years ago, but even over the last probably 15 years, it's one thing to do things in your life for yourself that you're proud of. And you're like, I did that. That's great. But when you can pass that on and inspire other people to overcome things that maybe they thought, I could never do that. And you inspire them and encourage them, and you watch them get rid of limited beliefs and overcome fear, and they move into a different place in their life, and you watch that happen. There's really nothing better that fills my soul than that joy of feeling like, maybe I had a little piece of their giving them that encouragement in their journey. So I would say that for sure.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing what makes people light up. I remember going through my spiritual journey, and that's one question that was always brought to me. What lights you up? It had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with popularity, any of those things. What lights me up is truly being able to inspire, encourage, motivate someone, just helping someone just want something changed in their life. And that's probably the most amazing thing. As I say, is serving one another, serving someone else. And that makes your whole life purpose bigger than you can ever imagine. So let's start from here. Let's start where And if you're comfortable, if you're comfortable, because we want to know where it started at. I want to know, what season were you in when you decided to get implants?
Great question. It's been a long time because I had 2 sets of implants over a 36-year period. And so I'd always been very small chested, and I was in beauty pageants and always felt insecure, on stage. And then when I was going to college, I knew I was going to be in college pageants, and that's swimsuits. And I thought, okay, I am going to need to have, some breasts in order to look good in these swimsuits. And I just always felt like I needed them to feel like whole. And, if I could tell my old self, my young self, it would be, you were good enough. You were beautiful the way God made you. You're not, your boobs are not your identity. Just, there's so much I would tell my young self. But so yeah, I really felt like I needed them. So I was almost 19. It was the summer before I started college, and I went to get boobs, and that's what I did.
Yeah. I myself, I was a little older than you were when I got my boobs. I got my boobs after my second daughter. I was 30 years old, going on 31.
Yeah.
When I decided to get mine, but mine was particularly for modeling. I was, as well as you, in pageantry, so I knew all of those things had to do to uplift, because I was, in an itty bitty.
Yeah. I've got the shirt.
Yeah, that, so I had the little chiclets, all of those things. Me and my best girlfriend, we have this joke, because her husband one year bought us both those matching. They had the big full chiclets thing.
How cute.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that we used to love to go out dancing, and so they were always sweat. And then I had like this little thing where I would tape them up on us, and you know how back in the day, how you tape up, try to get you a cleavage in modeling.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, audience, listen, guys. If you ever known about being in the modeling industry or even in the pageantry industry, you have to find some cleavage somewhere in these girls. So you're taped up, and I'm talking about taped up. You taped up with masking tape. You taped up with some wiring tape. It's whatever tape that you can find that's going to be able to sustain that sweat.
Yes. Hey, I don't have to worry about that now. But.
Yes. But that is what women have to go through.
Yeah.
Seriously. So I truly do understand all of that, and and that's one thing that when I was brought to do this, and I was at my altar, when it came to me, it's like, you need to share your story, but you also need to share your platform with other women so they can hear their story. But I want, especially if there's somebody that's listening that's thinking about going through explant surgery and even implant surgery, that there is no shame in it. There is no shame in it. And whatever season that we are in our life at that time, that is what we feel that we have to do what's best for us with the knowledge that is given to us at that time.
Yes, that's the key, right? That's the key. Oh yes, they're safe. They're safe. Women have been getting them for years. Okay, great. I can have these, and it's safe, and I'm good. And they did not tell me that they were a 8 to 10, 12-year window shelf life. I don't believe really, from what I've learned over time now, after deciding to do this, the minute they're put in you, they start bleeding. Your body starts forming the capsule. So, do they really have an 8 or 10 year shelf life? I don't know. Some women go for years and they never get sick. And praise God, I'm so glad. I'm glad. And I was good for about 8 or 9 years. Mm-hmm. I was fine. I was fine. I was young. We were having kids. And then I started having some symptoms, my first symptoms. I got Epstein. I wrote some down because I did not want to forget any. And these are just some that came to me. There's probably more, but these will relate to most people. I had Epstein-Barr, was diagnosed with that, which wreaks havoc on your body.
Now, what is that, if you can explain to the listeners who might not know?
Well, I hear, I don't know a lot. I'm not real scientific, but I do know that, like, if you have ever had the monovirus, if you have mono,
Mm-hmm.
you typically it's from the Epstein-Barr virus.
Okay.
It just can cause, it really wreaks havoc on your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I had started having panic attacks, the kind where couldn't breathe, my lips would turn blue, I almost would have a seizure. It was the craziest thing. Go to the hospital, it was always a panic attack, and I'm like, it would just hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I would have repetitive UTIs or a yeast infection. It was almost like I had one or the other every month.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I went through a few years of constantly at doctors and specialists and took different things. Brain fog and fatigue was a pretty normal thing. Sometimes the brain fog would get so bad, I couldn't even make words out, and I would go through seasons of this. Hip pain, I would go through seasons of just severe hip pain. My shoulder and neck pain has been an issue since about 8 or 9 years in the first set.
Yeah.
I have always had a chiropractor. I've always gotten massages. I've always struggled with pain, dry mouth and dry eyes. Over the last probably 4 years, that has gotten so severe that I will fix an entire 40-ounce Yeti, and it sits by my bed, and almost every hour in the night, I have to get a sip of water. And I get a small sip so that I'm not up all night pee-peeing, right? So that was another, and then a couple other, joint pain. I had joint pain now, and that was, I would always just hurt. And those are just a few. I had a lot of weird things happen that I think could have only been from the implants. So the first set, believe it or not, because I thought they were lifetime devices, I didn't know, I kept that first set for 24 years.
Wow.
I went to so many different kinds of doctors. I thought I was going crazy sometimes. I even went to, I went to all kinds of doctors and was on lots of different medications, all just putting a Band-Aid on symptoms, right? Never getting to the root issue. No one ever said to me, it could be your implants. And so at 24 years, the reason I went and got another set is because I noticed they looked quite a bit smaller. And I had went from an A or maybe a double A to a C. And I had nursed 2 children with them. And I thought, well, maybe it's time to have them looked at. They're smaller. Maybe what if they have a rupture? They're smaller. Yeah. So at 24 years in 2012, I went to a doctor and he replaced them. And when he got in there to replace them, when I woke up, he had a Ziploc bag and he said, here's your implants. And they were just Jell-O. There wasn't even a bag around them. He said, had I known what a mess you were inside and how ruptured these were, I would have charged you double and I would have allowed more time. And he was kind of joking, but he was just saying, you were such a mess. I cleaned you up the best I could. So they were Jell-O. There was not a bag around them. So I got my new set. And that same month that I got a new set of implants was also the same month that I got on gut health. And I did not know anything about gut health back in 2012. But my best friend stumbled across these products. I'm reading all the testimonies. I really think it could help a lot of your symptoms. So I said, okay. So I got on those products. They changed my life. And every symptom that I just mentioned to you, every symptom was like I was like, oh my gosh, This is amazing. So I'm screaming and shouting to the world about gut health. And what happened was I was extremely healthy and felt great for about 10 years. And then the last 2 years, little things started creeping back. So what my doctor, Dr. Sood and Laura said was, your gut health really kept you at bay for 10 years because they know, and they said it's so important if women could just get the importance of gut health. So I'm so thankful that came into my life when it did. But for the last 2 years, every symptom that I just mentioned, not every symptom, but almost all of those and a few others entered in. And the last 3 months before my surgery was pretty brutal. It was all those, but then I was hurting inside. So I'll stop there and see if you have any questions before I kind of move on into, because I was in denial. I wasn't going to do this. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question to you. First of all, I want to tell you thank you for just sharing that story. And even when you so let me say this. As you're talking, I'm picturing moments. I'm picturing exactly what you are going through. And it's like I feel the emotions. I felt the emotions when the doctor came to you with a bag with gel of those bag with gels, and those are supposed to be 2 complete implants that were in your body, and they were just bags of gel. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And just listening to that and knowing
yeah,
I just took this out of this woman.
yeah,
Let me sew her up before I move any further. This is what I'm thinking. Let
yeah,
me clean her up, sew her up, close her up, bring her back and say, look, this is what this is. I don't think we should do any further because guess what?
yeah,
No harm. I do know, and that's it. So that is my main reason for choosing Dr. Sood as
yes,
my doctor. And I
yeah,
want my listeners to know this. This is not a you go Dr. Sood type of thing. But I want you all to understand that when you find someone that really believes in you and care about others first before a profit,
yes,
you understand what I'm saying? And
yes,
especially when he understands and he knows what women come to him for anyway, is for them to look beautiful, and be safe. You understand? And so when you hear and you see that and you hear about other surgeons that we've been to before and not do anything about it, even if you didn't know about BII, breast implant, you had any second thoughts. My thing is, let me make sure she's good before I even put anything else in it. But what I'm so happy is that your body told you, and a friend of yours said, let's work on something else. That at least we can try to control it, as much as possible. And that's the gut health. And you are exactly right. A lot of us women don't know what that is. Not even women, but people don't know what that is.
yeah,
But it was good that you took that part of your life and said, okay, I can control this. I can control what I eat. I control what I put in my body. And maybe that'll regulate everything else on top of me getting some fresh new boobies that they said that
yeah,
I'm going to be good with,
yeah. Yeah, no, I tell you, when after going to Dr. Sood, and my husband is real. He's a good down to earth, just a good old country guy, and he said after, because we were very much like, we and me, there's no way I'm sick from my breast. There's no way. But what about all these symptoms? My best friend would say, well, what about all these symptoms? And I go, that could be anything. Fatigue, brain fog, joint pain. I mean, literally, I kind of mocked it like, there's no way my boobs. And when let's see, my surgery was in April of this year, April 9th. And in December, I was really sick. I got really sick in December. And another friend said, who had her breast out, she said, have you thought that? And I said, no, but you're the second person who has brought this up. And it almost made me a little angry. And I just kind of put it off. I literally never looked anything up. I didn't even know the word BII, breast implant illness. I wouldn't have even known how to look it up. I would have had to just put in, hey, could my boobs be making me sick? And honestly, I probably could have done that, and it would have probably told me so. But I was in that much denial. I want you to hear me. I was totally, my friends who had theirs out, I was like, oh, I hate they had to do that. Wonder why they did that. I was clueless.
Yeah.
And I literally grieved that I could have been so clueless. I grieved for all the life I feel like I lost, all the days and moments in my life that I felt like could not be my full self. I had to go to bed. I had to take off work. Because I grieved that after I knew what it was. And what happened was in February, I have lipomas, unexplained lipomas on my legs, and I've had 4 removed, and I have a lot now. And doctors go, we don't know what causes them, trauma maybe, stress, we don't know. And I remember I was working out upstairs, and I have bright lights and mirrors, and this was early February. I looked in the mirror and I saw my legs. And I just broke down crying and said, I'm wondering if my implants could be causing these and all the other things. It was like God said, I'm going to make you listen right now. You're going to listen. And at that moment, I stopped everything I was doing, and I called a friend who had hers out, who had mentioned to me about mine. And I was crying like a baby. She thought something had happened. And I said, I want you to tell me more. And she talked to me for an hour. And that day I called a doctor, not my Dr. Sue. I called a Nashville doctor, set up a consult for the next week. She told me to watch the documentary Explant. And I said, okay. And I told my husband, he said, honey, I was a mess. I was crying. I said, we're watching this. I'm booking an appointment. I just got to know. Could it be a possibility? He said, whatever you think. We watched that night, and both of our eyes were opened, as I know you know. And he said, oh, I see what this is all about now. He goes, yeah, let's get you an appointment. If this is what it is, let's get them out. Sounds like after you having these were 12 years and a half. He said, sounds like no matter what, you need to get them out now anyway. And you're hurting. Let's book an appointment. So I went from total denial and anger and honestly like feeling sorry for my friends who had them out and thinking, oh, I hate that for them, but maybe they feel better, to instantly saying, I want mine out. I don't like them. I want them out of me. I'm ready. I'm sick of them. I hate them. Like that was my switch. Only God can do that. Only God can do that. So that was my switch. Went to my first consult the next week. Did not align with that doctor at all because he still put implants in. But he also said to me, he said, your symptoms might not be from your breast. And he said, a lot of these women are pretty radical and they believe what they believe. And I just, my husband even said, you don't like me? I go, no, I don't like him. I'm not coming back. So that was that. And then I was added to a couple or 3 different breast implants, Explant. And I stumbled across, I was in Dr. Sue's group, and then Laura messaged me and said, welcome to the group. We're in Illinois. And I said, oh, I could never travel to get mine out. But thank you so much. I'm learning a lot. And 2 weeks later, I'm booking a consult with Dr. Sue. And it was because I believed in his cause of like, I could not he said to me, I could not put implants in anymore when I realized I was harming women.
Yes.
I could not do it anymore. My conscience couldn't allow it. And I was like, you align with me, and probably millions of other women who would align with you if they knew about you. And so, yes. So that's a little bit about what led me to him.
Yes. First of all, that's very powerful, just the whole thing, but the story too. It's something that I'm trying to remember which beautiful woman that, I think it was Laura. The very first one that I spoke to. And we got to give it up for our husbands, because I'm going to tell you one thing is that you truly need that support system, because the world out there is going to gaslight you as much as possible and tell you but when you have a supportive partner there with you that believes you and say, you know what, I want you whole, just like you want to be. I hear you. And when you with someone that hears you, that is an amazing thing, because really when you look at our husband, they're there to protect us.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and just them knowing like there is nothing that I can do possibly to ease your pain, to ease this symptom to where you can go through. So you can only imagine what they're going through, but then they still like, I'm with you, I'm riding it out. My husband did the same thing, going to consultations with me and everything like that. And it was like, you know, the one doctor here in Vegas, he was like, I like him. I said, I don't. And he said, why not? And I said, because I said, he do implants, but this is what he said to me. He said, you know, usually the ladies that take them out, they come back in and get implanted again.
Mm.
But you tell me that you understand and you know about breast implant illness.
Yeah. Which is it? Two sides of the mouth. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so many things. And he was like, well, I don't do lifts and I don't. And I'm like, okay, so you're purposely taking these out of the woman, just taking them out and just leaving them like they are so they could come back to you to get a lift, to get whatever, to get whatever. So you this is with you're on the financial gain of it.
Yeah.
And that was not a line.
Yeah.
When I heard in my voice, get them out of you,
Yeah.
I knew that it was not for me to get them out of me to put some back in.
Yeah.
I knew that,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
so that was like, no, I'm gonna show you somebody else. And how Dr. Sue came to me, it wasn't nothing because I wasn't looking for Dr. Sue. Because if I wasn't going to him, I already had a doctor that I had been looking at and following for years in Miami. But I was just trying to find someone at home, like you were at home.
At home.
You wouldn't have to go.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as I'm sitting at my altar meditating, looking for meditation music, a group popped up on my front page. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking for music. And I saw Laura's name. And then I started reading her thing. And so I went over and joined the group. And then she had said that she was on the Oprah Winfrey show back in the day. I'm originally from Chicago.
Okay.
Why do I remember that episode and the Jenny Jones episode? I remember that because I remember at that time I was a fresh teenager on my way to college, and I was like, I'm really thinking about getting those implants. And then after that, they had banned them, so I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't get any until I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
Because that's when they brought the saline back, and they
Yeah.
said, well, these are totally different from the silicone. These are safe. These are lifetime, you know. And so I was like, hey.
Yeah, perfect.
Right. And so it was like a whole full circle. But then when I got on the phone with Laura, it was just like we were just connected in so many ways. And I said, this is it.
Yep. Yep.
And I cried and I said, thank you, God, for leading me. And honestly, when I say this, Sonya, I just thought that was it. Okay, that's going to make me, you know, such and such and such. And then I went on vacation in May, getting ready for my surgery. I would go on vacation, come back, do my shows for June and July. Came home for vacation and my body blew all the way up. I could not walk. I could not do anything. I couldn't even talk to even do interviews. Set me down for a whole week in some change. And I was like, and usually when something like that happened to me, there's always a message, something that I'm supposed to learn or know from there. And I remember again sitting at my altar. And he said, you need to do a whole series on your explant journey.
Wow, that's powerful.
And yeah, and that's what it's been. But this is the funny thing is usually I'm a daily show.
Yeah.
As of 2 weeks ago, I couldn't do it anymore because my body has really, it's like it knows that it's getting ready to be taken out. And so it's just acting crazy. And my body is telling me to rest. So now as I'm interviewing you right now, you're the last of the interviews that I would do until October because I have to listen to my body. Yeah. And, you know, when we talk about the season of self-love, we're talking about loving yourself unconditionally as you are, what God has given you. Yeah. And I was questioning myself, how can I talk about self-love when I have two foreign objects in me to give me confidence? And again, people, I want to make sure that I'm not shaming anyone.
Right.
But I'm not shaming anyone, but I just want you to know of the growth that has happened with myself and with all of the women that has been here, you know, and just been talking. And so I guess I got one question for you right here. If you can tell that 19-year-old from the wisdom to everything you know now, what would that be to that 19-year-old?
Your confidence is not in your body. You know, treat your body, honor your body, treat your body great. What you put in is what you get out. Make the best of what you have. Whether you have tiny little A's or you have triple G's, it's what God gave you. You make the best of it. You love yourself as you are. You find someone who will love you as you are, because they will, and it won't be for your boobs. So find that person and love yourself that way. And don't let that consume you. It's not about that. It's about giving and blessing other people and serving people. And people aren't seeing what you see sometimes when you look in the mirror and you're like, I need this fixed. I need that fixed. I need a new nose. People don't see what sometimes we see our faults. So give yourself grace. Only change what you can change, and know what you're changing, and know the risk involved. And does this make sense? You know, that's what I would say. You won't regret doing this. Yeah. I've never felt better. I'm 100% better. Everything I mentioned is gone. I haven't had any neck from the second surgery was over. I've had no knots or zero pain in my neck and shoulders. And it was always an issue. I work a lot from my phone, mobile, no issues. The dry eyes, I haven't used my prescription eye drops since the day before surgery. Oh, wow. I haven't even used them. Couldn't even tell you where they are, really. The fatigue is gone. The brain fog is gone. The brain fog was so bad before surgery. It was scaring me to death. I thought I was getting dementia at 55. I honestly was scared to death. So I love having smaller breasts, and I'm not even that small. I'm still a little 36C, and I did get a lift and a small fat transfer from Dr. Sood, and I'm very happy and pleased with all of that. My healing was smooth and great, and I know gut health had a lot to do with that. I don't regret it, and I've never felt better. And I will encourage any woman who feels like, what if it's not my implants? Well, what if it is? What if it's not? If they're more than 8 years old, you know, you got to do something at some point. So what if it is? What if it could be? My husband said when we were doing this, I said, what if it's not? This was in the early beginning. Yeah. What if it's not? He goes, okay, if it's not, you go back and get some new ones put in later. And I'm like, okay. This was in the early, like at the very beginning thoughts. But what if it is? You know, it's a foreign object. I'm in the health industry. I felt the way like you do, like, I can't believe, like, you know, and I'm not shaming anyone who has them. Most of my friends have them, and most of them feel great, and I'm so thankful. But if there ever comes a time when you're questioning your health and you're not getting answers, don't put it too far out there. Investigate it. Come to people, and don't. There's no shame in asking. Could it be? We're here to help.
Yeah, you know, beautifully said. You know, because a lot of times, and I heard you say early on about you didn't even think about breast implant illness. You didn't know anything about it. Your whole question was, why would you take those beautiful breasts out? You know, why? Really? You know, not knowing, because people don't know. You know, people do not know what breast illness, implant illness is. They do not know of the, and the ones that do, you know, and I heard you say they think everything is cult wise. They know they radicals, you know, and this is stuff. And honestly, when I read these stories of these amazing women, and I keep saying they're amazing, because you don't know the courage that it takes.
Yes.
And the grace that it takes to forgive yourself for a choice and decision. When I'm talking about removing the shame, it's so many things that emotionally, spiritually, and mentally that happens when you decide to explant.
Yes. Yeah, I went through all the stages of anger at the industry, angry at the doctors, angry at myself, grief of what I told you, losing. I felt like all those years I wasted money and time, and just there's a lot of emotions. And I could spend my days beating myself up and being angry, or I could spend my days being productive and encouraging and being loud and being a voice. I can't tell you how many women have already come to me and said, I saw your story, and have already had surgery with not just Dr. Sue, but other doctors, probably close to 35 or 40 now that I know of since April, who were clueless like me. Most of them said I had no idea. So I'm going to continue to be that voice instead of beating myself up. I choose to be good and kind to myself at this point. So,
yeah. And you should. And let me tell you something. It was something that you were saying before. And I was looking at you, I said, that was the path that was brought for you, so you can be the loud voice now.
I agree. I agree. Sometimes, as Les Brown, I love Les Brown, and he says, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't see our life's purpose when you're in pain.
Yes.
So I believe that.
Yes. This has been so beautiful. I know I had a lot more questions for you, but I want to kind of towards the end, because I do want to talk about once you made that decision for that explant, the day of you going into that, where was your mindset that day?
This is so funny because even the night before and the morning of, I was giggly, happy, relaxed. It was a normal night and day for me. Morning of surgery, I'm laughing. I got my pajamas on going to surgery, and I'm like, honey, let's take a selfie. You put your hands over my boobs in the picture. You tell him bye, because this is it. Like, he's like, you're not nervous at all. And I go, no, I'm excited. Let's go. Like, my mindset was I'm telling you, only God could be so just miraculous in my mindset, going from loving my boobs. Like, everything I ever bought was, I got to make sure, I don't want too much cleavage, but oh my gosh, I have these boobs. So, I wanted to look pretty and everything. And everything was about clothes. And it's like, to just switch me to go, I bought all the shirts before surgery, itty bitty titty. And I wear them now, but I'm like, I'm not that little. I'm still got some boobs. But I was going to be very okay and very happy to be tiny, tiny. I just wanted my life back. So I went into this with that mindset of, this is the best day of my life. My life's about to begin. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I can feel your energy. I felt your energy last week when we talked a little bit last week too. And it's just good to see all of you beautiful ladies on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On the other side. And even though you just got your explant this year, but still just the testimony in itself, just to know that there is a true transformation in it. And, that's one thing that I want to, my listeners to hear, whether you are a man or a woman, that not only are we just talking about body, we're talking about spiritual in your mind as well. Because when you choose to have these life-changing decisions and that you want to make, you have to truly thinking about having faith in yourself, having faith in what God is showing you in so many different ways. And I love that once you realize, okay, hold on. Yeah. You went through the grieving, but then you gave yourself grace and was like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and take them out. But now you're being a voice. And I know you spoke quite a few times about the gut health. And I really want to get you on a whole nother show about gut health too. But if you can talk real quickly with our listeners right here on how about going about gut health. And if you know any products or have any products that you sell yourself about gut health, please let the listeners know, because that's one thing that we talk about here is taking care of our bodies.
Yeah. What I didn't realize was that like 70 to 80% of your serotonin lies in your gut. 70 to 80% of your immune system lies in your gut. So all my life, I would just go to the doctor to treat everything that was going on instead of getting to the root issue. And so what I learned about gut health was when I got on good gut health, I started going to the bathroom regularly. I know we don't like to talk about that, but it is part of gut health. And most women and men, a lot of men, but most women, I talk to more women than men about this, they struggle with going to the bathroom. And you need to be going to the bathroom and eliminating, you need to be sweating, you need to be going to the bathroom, you need to be going to the bathroom two times a day, 3 times a day. But when you eat, you need to go to the bathroom. Well, I was always happy to go to the bathroom every 4 or 5 days because that's all I ever knew. But when I started being able to heal my gut, so everything started happening. And that started happening. I started craving less sugar. My aches and pains in my body started going away. I started losing weight. I started wanting water. I started sleeping all night. I got off all the medications that I was on, and I was on 8 or 9 medications. That was over about a 2-month period. My whole life changed. You can imagine. And so I made a career with the company I'm with. I made a career out of it. So, I've been full-time now, almost 13 years, teaching gut health and helping people. And so sometimes when you have rashes or you have things on the outside, maybe even a headache, that you're treating just the symptom, you're rubbing a cream on it, you're taking aspirin. If you can get to the gut issue, sometimes those things dissipate, and it was gut health. So blood sugar, gut health, all those things are so critical for your longevity. And so, I love to talk about it. And I never want people to think I'm trying to sell, but if anyone is interested in knowing more, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I don't like to just sell someone something. I like for people to say, I'm really ready to make a change. I like to work with those people who are like, I'm coachable. Help me with eating. I love to help people with nutrition and all the things. So that's a whole nother day. But
but what I love is that even through you doing the gut health and doing that, it allowed you to get healthy in one way, but then in the other way, you still had that foreign object in you that was not allowing you to be 100% whole or complete, as I would say. Yes. And so just that's a testimony alone to not even you selling your products, but letting the listeners know how important it is for our health, especially the gut, because that is the core.
It is.
That is the core. That is how we get balance. Yes. That's in everything right there in the soul of us. And so that's why I said that. That's why I wanted to speak of that, because it's very important, even when making decisions, even when we're making decisions, where we get those decisions from. We say, trust your what?
Good. Yeah. I mean, and Laura, what was really fascinating is when I told Laura, Dr. Stute and Laura could not believe how well I healed. They're like, and I go, well, I've been doing gut health, really consistent and committed gut health for 13 years nearly. And they're like, well, that's why you got better when you got new implants in. A lot of women get worse when they exchange their implants. They get really sick. So they were real fascinated by that they said, well, that just that gave you 10 years of keeping. So both sets of my implants were ruptured. When Dr. Stute took these out, they were also ruptured, but I still have the bag around these. But yeah.
Honey, let me tell you, first, I want to thank you. I truly do. I want to thank you so much, because really, I am only a few weeks out. And I am very excited. I am truly excited just to see what everything looks like on the other end. But I joke with my family members. I say, now I can run faster. Now I can jump higher. Now I can we don't have to be on the booby watch.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
And so I am truly excited for this. So let me ask you this, and I know you said that you love it, but how has your relationship with your body evolved through this entire journey?
I just look in the mirror, getting out of the shower, and I'm like, I just feel like me. I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to be. And I love my smaller boobs. I love them. I just feel like, gosh, So would this be, I'm a little larger than I was at 19 because you have more breast tissue
Sure.
that
Mhm.
forms over time. You gain weight. So, but I just thinking, wow, I love smaller boobs and they're pretty popular now, which is a good thing. They're really a lot of people are removing, and a lot of people, movie stars are,
Yeah.
flat, and they're wearing their V-neck dresses and they're flat. I'm like, but they look good. They're confident. It's not
Yeah.
about the boobs. It's about they're owning who they are and appreciating who God made. They're like, here I am. This
Yeah.
is me. I'm more than this. I'm brains. I'm
Yes.
love. I'm kindness. I just, so yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I just want to ask you one more question. So y- just tapping into your profound wisdom that you gained throughout this whole transformation. What would you share with a woman who's considering explant surgery, but is still feeling uncertain or afraid?
Considering it, but feeling uncertain and afraid. Well, I would say to her, you know what? I would always say, you know what? It's your decision. But if it were me, I would. If you're considering it, I would, gather your information. I would research doctors. What's important to you? What matters to you? Write that down. Write all the things that matter to you, and then start finding that doctor. And if you're not too sick and you're just starting to think about it, then take your time, pick out a good doctor. Don't rush into it. Ask lots of questions, join the groups. Just sit back and be a fly on the wall. No one is pressuring you. It's your decision. And gather that information and then start asking questions. Nobody's going to force you to do it.
Right.
What's the worst thing that can happen if you say, I also would say this, if you're over 8 years old with your implants, at some point soon, you're going to have to do something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So consider what you want to do. Start gathering information. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Now, I did say I had one more question right now. That I just told a big fib there. A big fib there. One more. Yeah, just one more. Because when we talk about us going through, all the aches and pain, and we talk about how we're surviving. We're surviving. We're BII survivors.
Yeah.
How can you tell a woman that has just explanted? They might not have just the success that you have mentally, emotionally, and spiritually getting through it. How can they move from surviving to thriving, but doesn't know how to begin and how to trust that it's possible?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. Well, I would, that's tough because sometimes when you're in too many groups, you get a lot of information thrown at you. And you also, it's almost like we just went through mold remediation also. And it's almost like some people prey on things like this, and they want to say, you need to spend, $1,500 a month on detoxing for the next 6 months. And you need to do these, and you need to go do these treatments. And, it can be very overwhelming. So I would say your body knows how to heal itself, first of all. So don't think the minute you're done with surgery that for the next 2 or 3 weeks that you have to do anything major. Let your body settle, get your protein in, lots of protein for healing, lots of hydration for sure. And then I say, and it's not because I do this, but gut health, you've got to have good digestion. You've got to work on your gut. You've got to be able to have things moving. So I would say gut health, hydration, protein, lymphatic massages, and then everything else can come. You can start doing some binders a few weeks later, but find one person who can guide you. It's so hard. Our world, our social media world, and people, and you get all these things, and then you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So just try to narrow that to one person that can guide you. Like, I'm not an expert in hormones, so I would say, have you had those checked if you're struggling with menopause too? Like, have you ever had those checked? Find a person who can at least guide you and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know what, Sonya? We have come to the end of our show, but I want to just tell you, I am so deeply moved by just your radiance and your wisdom and your willingness just to share your transformation. And when I say you were being so real, raw, and uncut, here you were, because you gave all of your vulnerability and all of your truth. And I truly thank you for this. I really do. I really do. So what we usually do, we just doing it this month. Actually, this is the last one. We do a closing meditation. And this is just, because we did go into a beautiful conversation, but it was really deep and it was really emotional. And this is just to send, our listeners on to, just something of peace, something of peace. So if you are right now, if you could just get comfortable for a moment and close your eyes. Place both of your hands on your heart and take 3 deep, nourishing breaths. I want you to feel your heart beating with life, with possibilities, with infinite capacity of healing and thriving. Now imagine that brilliant light we connected with earlier, that golden healing light of your wholeness, glowing brighter and stronger in your heart center. Now I want you to feel this light expanding throughout your entire being, reminding every cell, every breath, every heartbeat of your innate capacity to heal, to transform, to thrive beyond anything that you've previously imagined. And I want you to ask this light of wholeness, what do you want me to remember about my capacity to thrive? Listen with your whole being to whatever arises, a feeling, a knowing, words of encouragement, or a simple sense of limitless possibilities. Maybe it's a reminder of your strength. Maybe it's encouragement about a decision that you're facing. Or maybe it's simply the knowing that you are meant for so much more than survival. You are meant to flourish. So whatever arises, I want you to receive it with gratitude and trust. This light of wholeness is always available to you, always reminding you of who you truly are and what's possible for your life. Now say to yourself, I am whole. I am capable of thriving, and I choose to live full vitality and joy. Feel this truth settling in every part of your being. You are meant to thrive. You are meant to flourish. Take one more deep breath in and carry this radiant knowing into your week. All right, beautiful souls. Thank you all so much for just sharing that moment with me. Again, Sonya, thank you so much for truly just sharing this experience with not only me, but also our listeners here. But just being, another inspiration for me going into my surgery is I felt comfortable, and I really feel more comfortable now. And I thank you.
Good. I'm so glad. Well, if you need anything, you reach out to me, okay? And I'm praying for August the 12th.
I sure will. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, my beautiful listeners. Again, I want to truly thank you all, because this is the last show that we're going to have until October. So I want to say thank you all for trusting me on this complete journey, not only my Explant journey, but through the whole season of self-love. We are now like at 360 episodes, and I thank you all for just taking that step with me and moving forward and understanding on what self-love is to us, for us, and what transformation looks like. Your transformation story can be so different and so amazing all in one. Remember, be authentic, be you. Have an amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.